Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Wednesday, June the 18th. We're happy to have you. Thanks for hanging out or stopping by. We've got some Cam Ward dialogue or discussion that we are going to dive into with you tonight, and it is based off an interview that we did on the radio show yesterday where Riddick of ESPN came on. Robert worked very, very diligently for a period of some weeks, or at least that's what he told me is what he was doing, and was able to book Riddick on the show. We knew that Lewis had strong feelings about Cam Ward prior to him being drafted by the Titans, certainly prior to there being any kind of discussion or back and forth about Cam Ward and Shador Sanders. By the way, Shador Sanders getting a speeding ticket today for going, what was it, 41 over in Cleveland this afternoon. I saw a funny tweet.
I feel like he's getting dogged out in this situation, if I'm being honest. It was probably a 60, but how many times have we been going like 85 and a 70, and then all of a sudden it sucks down in a speed trap? He's going 101.
You want me to read it from the report?
Yeah, let's hear it.
You think we're being unnecessarily cruel to Shador Sanders?
I am, because the punishment, what the punishment is. Read the report, and then I'll.
Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback Shador Sanders was cited by police early Tuesday. By the way, welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time. Share the show around. Like the video on YouTube. Do all of these things. We're going to talk about Cam Ward here in a second, but Robert has now distracted me. Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback Shador Sanders was cited by police early Tuesday morning for driving 101 miles per hour, according to police records. An officer for the Strongsville Police Department stopped Sanders at 12:24 a.m. Strongsville for driving 41 miles per hour over the posted 60 mile per hour speed limit in his black Dodge TRX truck. Sanders, 23, a projected first-round pick, who was selected by the Browns after falling to the fifth round of this year's draft because I had insult to injury here, must either pay a $250 fine, not a big deal, or a fourth-degree misdemeanor, or fight the ticket in Strongville Mayor's Court on July 3rd. So
keep the money, y'all. I'd have 4 more of them this week, baby. Come on, $250. We're going down the road trucking. He did it in a truck too. It wasn't like a cool Lambo or anything. Because at first I was gonna be like, 101 isn't that fast for a fast car. Like that. That's
he whipping it in a Chevy.
But that dude's in told her ass to hop up in this dually truck. You're telling me he was doing 101 in a truck? $250? Like, keep that money.
Yeah,
keep it. Keep
it.
We don't want it.
All right, let's do the show. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time here on this Wednesday night, June the 18th. I'm your host, Buck Rising. Hello. I'm proud, as always, to be presented to you by the wonderful folks at Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Online at tworiversford.com. Quality American-made Ford vehicles, award-winning customer service on offer. Go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. Like I mentioned, TrueMap Fitness in the Gulch, where you go for your first workout free. As a Middle Tennessee resident, God knows that this show could stand to be in better physical condition. If you want to achieve your fitness goals, you can do so at truemavfitness.com for the best workout in Middle Tennessee. So I don't know if Cam Ward is going to be the best Titans quarterback ever drafted, but the lore of Cam Ward is starting to gain traction and has had momentum, right? It's not, I don't want to revisit the 6-part docuseries on Tubi, but Cam Ward's story is a fascinating one. Cam Ward's personality is made of the right shit is a term that we've used around here that we've borrowed from Rand Carthon a couple of years ago at the Combine when he was asked a question about Tajay Spears. But I do believe that is the best way to describe Cam Ward. Beyond the talent that the quarterback brings to the table that you expect a number 1 overall pick at quarterback to have, the demeanor, the mentality, all the different things, the makeup of this player, the total picture of this player is what is going to give him the opportunity to succeed at a high level, or at least that's what smarter football people than me will tell you. And so when it comes to the analysis, we like to bring in smarter people than me. It's not hard to find them, but we like to outsource those things to people who have different experiences, different backgrounds, Louis Riddick is one such person. Louis Riddick is a former personnel evaluator in the NFL. He's been doing TV, I think, now for over a decade. Louis Riddick has easily been on television for over 10 years at this point. I think he might have said that he started working for ESPN in like 2013. But Louis makes his bones as a personnel evaluator on television. He does college football games for ESPN during the season, and he has done several Cam Ward games going back to his time at Washington State. So with all the different things that Cam Ward brings to the table, I wanted to get Louis's perspective because we all saw the clip of Louis Riddick on, I believe it was NFL Live prior to the draft, talking about Patrick Mahomes and Cam Ward as comparable players in a couple of different settings. And so I wanted to invite Louis on the show. Bert did a really good job to go above and beyond to make sure that we booked him. And so I just wanted to give Louis the opportunity to expand, right? Television's very, very tight windows. I don't even know if I'm good at this. Many of you would argue that I'm not, I'm sure, but I would not be good at television for certain because you have to speak in such small sound bites. You have to deliver bite-sized analysis. Whereas me, I'm used to talking for 3 hours, an hour and a half here, whatever the case may be, and I would never be able to operate in such a tight window, or at least I don't think I'd be very good at it. So Louis, though, is great at it and also has more analysis to offer than the 10 minutes, or not even 10 minutes, the 30 seconds that they might give him in any given television speaking component, right? When they toss to him, usually they deliver the analysis in 3 minutes or less. So I wanted to give Louis the opportunity to expand, and he did just that. It's an excellent interview. I'd invite all of you to check it out, not just because we did it, but because Louis is excellent. And so I wanted to start with, all right, first and foremost, let's rip the Band-Aid off. Why are you comfortable, and when did you become comfortable making Cam Ward, Patrick Mahomes comparisons? You're going to hear from Louis Riddick here in a second, right after I remind you that the Primetime program and your Two Rivers Ford take are presented by Two Rivers Ford. Quickly, the question that I'm going to ask you is fair or foul Louis Riddick's Cam Ward, Patrick Mahomes comparison? You can give us fair, you can give us foul. If you want to expand with why your opinion is either of those things, we would welcome those. But let me know in the comment section, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, fair or foul Louis Riddick comparing Cam Ward to Patrick Mahomes. We're going to talk about this together right after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by the South's most trusted Ford dealer. That's Two Rivers Ford, quality American-made Ford vehicles and award-winning customer service on offer. Employee pricing for everyone is what they have going on right now at Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com for more details. So, Patrick Mahomes, as a college football player, was not a consensus number one overall pick. In fact, there was quite a lack of consensus around Patrick Mahomes. 3 years at Texas Tech, from his freshman year to his junior year, from 2014 to 2016. And of course, he was a part of that 2017 draft. He played 32 games in college. He completed 63.5% of his passes, which I'm sure if you told anybody that now, they would be surprised that it was that low. He threw for 11,252 yards, 93 touchdowns, which is gaudy, and 29 interceptions. So he had a pretty high interception rate. He had a quarterback rating of 152.0 flat. He was an interesting player. He was a fun player at Texas Tech, but there are a lot of questions about whether his style and the offense that he played in, how long it would take for somebody like Patrick Mahomes, who's clearly talented, to translate at the NFL level. He got to sit for a year behind Alex Smith. He landed in the right spot with Andy Reid. They traded up to get him. They knew that they could work with this player, and they knew they had the right system to support him, which is different from Cam Ward, right? The Titans had no choice. They would have done it anyway, I think, if they had a need at quarterback. But they had no choice but to take Cam Ward. They don't have a player for Cam Ward to sit behind and develop. They don't have nearly as good of a roster because the Chiefs, you'll remember, were competing in the playoffs prior to Patrick Mahomes' arrival, and they were competing at a high level with Alex Smith. This is a very different situation that Cam Ward will be entering in. But that's Patrick Mahomes as a collegiate player. Now, stylistically, there are some comparisons to be made. But when you look at the level of experience that Cam Ward had, where Incarnate Word is not technically a part of his Pro Football Focus or his college football reference page because it's Division II. But he had 2 years at Incarnate Word, right? Then he has 2 years at Washington State. He finishes his career at Miami as a Heisman Trophy finalist. His statistics are greater than Patrick Mahomes. His completion percentage is greater than Patrick Mahomes. And it is interesting to go back and look at the turnovers because he turned the ball over at a far less frequent rate than did Patrick Mahomes. As a collegiate quarterback, you could make the argument that Cam Ward was the better player in college. And it took him some time to get there, and it took him a longer route. Pat did 3 years. Cam did 5. But there is an argument to be made, and it may not be much of an argument, to be honest with you. You could probably go back and forth on Cam Ward being a better college quarterback than Patrick Mahomes was. So if Cam Ward is a better college quarterback than Patrick Mahomes was, does that necessarily mean that he's a better prospect than Patrick Mahomes was? Those two things don't have to be mutually exclusive, right? Cam Ward can have been, if you wanted to make that case, and I could, that Cam Ward was better in college than Pat was. You could also turn around and say, but Pat was the better prospect, even though Cam was a higher draft pick. I think that there is more that Patrick Mahomes brought to the table as a prospect. It was more raw, but that there was a higher talent ceiling for Patrick Mahomes than there is for Cam Ward. Doesn't mean that Cam Ward can't be hugely successful in the NFL. But then you get to the NFL, Patrick Mahomes gets the benefit of all the different things that Kansas City had around him when he arrived. Stability, talent, good coaching, all of those things we don't know yet about the Titans. We think we have an idea, but we don't know yet definitively the way that we did on Andy Reid and the Chiefs organization at the time. When Louis Riddick starts to make these comparisons, Louis Riddick is doubling down, essentially, or standing firm in his position that he believes Cam Ward is capable of turning the Titans franchise around in almost the same way that Patrick Mahomes did for the Kansas City Chiefs, which is kind of batshit crazy to me, even though I very much respect Louis Riddick's opinion.
Point did you think Cam was going to be the kind of special that you are now comfortable comparing him in certain terms to somebody like Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah. Well, I know there's a lot of people who kind of like started to absolutely lose their you-know-what over that comparison. And see, I don't know why people get so uncomfortable with comparisons, especially when you give them good context, which I did, which is, look, Cam plays from a you still there? Are we still on?
Oh, yeah. I got you.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I couldn't tell my computer was doing something weird here.
You're good.
Yeah, no, we I think from a stylistic standpoint, Cam has a lot of things that look very similar to the way Patrick likes to play the game. Patrick always described it as being like he's playing baseball, like he's just throwing the ball to first base, and that's why his feet sometimes are parallel. The ball sometimes comes out sidearm, three-quarter sidearm. It's a little unorthodox as far as how quarterback traditionally was played. Well, Cam Ward does the same thing. He can do the same types of things. He has very similar arm horsepower to Patrick. He just does. I've seen it up close in person, both of them, so I know. So I'm speaking from experience. When did I start feeling as though he had special qualities? I think it was I saw him in Pullman 2 years ago against Wisconsin early in the season. Then I got to see him play twice just this past year, and got to go down to his pro day too, and got to know Mario Cristobal and Shannon Dawson, his offensive coordinator, and they really walked me through the transition that he went through when he transferred from Washington State down to Coral Gables, and how from day one he just kind of took over. Now, I saw that and heard about that when I was up at Washington State, but he took it to a whole new level as far as his leadership, which is really the special sauce with him, which is really the special sauce with all these quarterbacks who are in the upper tier. It's not just their own individual talent. It's the way in which they raise the level of everyone else because of how good they are and what they demand. And they don't ask people to do anything that they're not willing to commit themselves to doing as far as committing to the process. And that's what Cam's all about. You heard his parting words when I guess he left OTAs about what he said he was going to do.
I was there. Yeah.
I mean, that's perfect. And that's how he was at Miami. And that's why he had one of the great seasons in Miami history as far as throwing the football. And that's why he raised the level of all the offensive players around him. Had Miami had anything close to resembling a competent defense, Miami would have been in the playoff picture and maybe in the national title hunt because of the way they could move the ball offensively, primarily because of Cam. He's exactly what Tennessee needs. That's the kind of personality at that position that Tennessee needs. That's the kind of skill set that Tennessee needs to take that offense and really level it up. He comes from a great family, super supportive people, super nice people, and he is just uniquely zeroed in on trying to be the best damn quarterback he can be. And that's it. That's all he cares about. Why wouldn't everybody in Tennessee go and put their arms around him and go, just lead us, man. We're going to ride your coattails. That's exactly what you want, and he's built for it. He's just simply built for it. I'm as convicted on this young man in terms of his makeup as any, whether it was Jaden Daniels last year or C.J. Stroud the year before. I'm very much so Team Cam Ward.
Well, Lewis, and I'm so glad that you articulated it that way. By the way, Lewis Riddick, ESPN, here with us on 104.5 The Zone. Of course, you can see him across their various platforms at any given point, whether it's Get Up, NFL Live, or all the other great broadcasts that he's doing, as well as college football broadcasts throughout the course of the season. Because I'm sure you've heard the Kevin O'Connell clip from last offseason where he's talking about the rate of quarterback churn and burn, right? He's talking about the organizations that fail these players far more often than the players themselves fail. Because I am 100% in agreement with you, Lewis, based on all the different stories that we hear from people who we've talked to on the show and done research on at Miami, Wazoo, and even Incarnate Word, and just seeing the way that his teammates have interacted with him during the course of the Titans offseason program, all these different things. And yet, the organization itself, I think, is still quite suspect in the way that they are trying to build around them. I think Mike Borgonzi is a very serious football personnel man. I think Brian Callahan is a very serious football coach. But we have seen several instances of these things across the board go sideways. And I wonder how you feel about the landing spot for him beyond him being built for this.
Yeah. Well, I think you touched on two important points. Well, really one in particular. Look, Mike knows, in particular, that being Borgonzi, where he just came from, the amount of time he spent there with Andy and Brett Reed and Brett Veach, and why Patrick was as successful as he was, going beyond his own physical skills and his mental makeup, and how to go about trying to foster that kind of environment for the guy, for a quarterback, so he can then just take off and become all he can be. I mean, there isn't much more that you can really get in terms of a GM who has seen the development arc of right now who is considered to be the most talented quarterback maybe we've seen in the past 7, 8, 9 years, 10 years. So if they just let him execute what his vision is in terms of, I'm trying to copy and put together and follow the same kind of blueprint that Brett and Andy followed in Kansas City, then they have a chance. Because you're right, and I've been talking about this since, when we got into TV back in 2013 at ESPN, about the fact that the development and utilization phase of player development, if you're talking about, scouting and information gathering, and then valuation and selection, and then development and implementation. Those are the three tripods of team building. Development and utilization. That's the most important phase. Because, look, all scouts obviously think that they can scout better than the next guy and they can see shit that other guys can't, blah, blah, blah. It's not true. What's really true is, and how you can really get a competitive advantage, is when you get them under your roof. Now, what are you doing? And so you're right. Some organizations have a history of screwing it up. Churning over coaches, churning over play callers, churning through players, owners getting involved, team presidents getting involved, team president's wife gets involved, the man on the street gets involved, everyone's listening to everyone's opinion, and next thing you know, you don't have a philosophical direction. In Tennessee, it's the greatest team sport in the world, right? It's the most popular sport, obviously, in our country by far, and everyone's so invested. There's so much information, and everyone has access to all this behind the scenes information. And what happens is there's so many people who have so many things to say that sometimes the people who are in charge become so distracted and listen to so much crap that they forget why they were put in that spot in the first place, which is 9 times out of 10, because they're competent and they know how to get, what it takes to get there.
So that's Louis Riddick on the radio show. It's a really, really good interview. Louis is just great. He's just excellent. So I would invite all of you guys to check that out. In fact, when Robert gets a minute, maybe he'll drop the link to that interview in the YouTube chat for you guys to check it out. And that's that second point that he made about the follow-up question that I asked and where he was going, because he has a much more expansive answer on organizational burnout. I want to talk more about that, because I'm willing to go along with, and there's no reason for me to not go along with the idea that Cam Ward is built for this shit, right? That he can do this, that he has the proper work ethic, the proper talent, the right demeanor, all the different things, the right support system from his family to be a success in the NFL. But I don't trust the Tennessee Titans to get that right. And we'll talk more about that next week. And it's not Callahan or Brinker or Borgonzi. It really is at the top. I don't trust Amy Adams-Strunk to stick with the plan, because I've seen in the last 4 years her very much not be able to make up her mind about what the exact plan is. So that is a larger topic of conversation for another day. But the point is, Louis Riddick standing firm on his Cam Ward-Patrick Mahomes comparison, saying he is as convicted in that player as any player he's scouted. And Louis Riddick has scouted a lot of players across his career. Pistol Grip says that I'm always hating on the Titans. Richie disagrees with that comment, says, smart man, Buck. You guys are entitled to your opinion. I don't expect fans to be like, yeah, our organization's dog shit. And I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying that there is no reason to trust them until they earn it, and they haven't earned it yet. So whether you consider that to be hating, I think it's fair. I'm going to be suspect of them until I see that they're capable of getting it right, because they haven't gotten it right in a long, long time. So with all that to say, Cam Ward can do this. How much closer, or how close he gets to Patrick Mahomes is a very difficult comparison to make, right? Because what Patrick Mahomes has done is come in here and take the league by storm. He is the thing standing. I mean, I would argue that Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow are as talented, if not more talented, than Patrick Mahomes is. What Patrick Mahomes brings to the table, though, is a level of skill beyond that talent, and the rest of them are absolutely skilled too. But Patrick Mahomes is both highly skilled and highly talented. The combination of those with Andy Reid has made him almost unstoppable, at least on the AFC side of things. The Eagles whipped his ass this year. No other way to put it. But it's hard enough for Lamar Jackson, who had a Mark Andrews drop that kept him from advancing through the postseason, for Josh Allen, who couldn't get a quarterback sneak right 5 or 6 different times to advance past him, and for Joe Burrow, who was undermined all year long by his defense. These are all incredibly high-level players, and they can't get past Patrick Mahomes, right? So Cam being that next guy is a very high bar to set. I don't think he has a problem with it. I think he relishes those expectations. I think he welcomes those expectations. And everything that I have learned about him throughout the course of the pre-draft process and his collegiate career, and now getting to work with him up close and personal, there's nothing to indicate to me that he isn't going to work his ass off to try and do that. It's just a really, really high bar. There are so many things that went in favor for Pat, beyond Pat just being great, that Cam is not going to have the benefit of. Cam Ward is in a definitively worse situation than Patrick Mahomes was, which means that if Cam Ward does all of these things, it will be more impressive than what Patrick Mahomes does or has done to this point in his career. Because Pat went to a stable organization with good coaching and a above average roster, a playoff caliber roster. That is not what Cam Ward is entering into with the Titans. The degree of difficulty, easy for me to say, I stalled out there. The degree of difficulty there is significantly more. So if Cam Ward does this shit, it will be more impressive than what Patrick Mahomes has done. And I never thought I'd be comfortable ever saying that in front of a camera or a microphone at this point in time. It's the truth. Now, it also means that there's a higher percentage chance that Cam fails. And not that Cam fails, right? I am pretty confident that Cam Ward can handle all of these things. The thing that we're going to talk about more next week is my lack of belief that the Titans are going to be able to properly support him. Maybe that's fair. Maybe it's premature. All we can do is wait and see. Speaking of Cam Ward, the rookies are still in town this week. The Titans had the vets obviously have scattered to the wind for the offseason program. Mandatory minicamp is done. The Titans offseason program is done. And the rookies, however, are still in town. They're doing team building activities. There's still some level of work that they are doing, but they're taking around to different parts of the city. They're helping them get to know Nashville. It's basically like their freshman orientation at this point in time. So one of the things that they did is take the Titans rookies, including Cam Ward, to one of my favorite spots, my sugar mama, Hattie B's. The reason that the radio show can keep the lights on and does as well as it does is because Hattie B's is one of our great partners over on the radio show. Hattie B's is also a partner of the Titans, and it was a funny exercise to see them participate in a hot chicken challenge, which we will get to here in just a second. Let's read some of your comments first, though. For Pistol, he's saying, I'm calling it now, week 1 upset against the Broncos. You're entitled to do that. If you're right about that, you can come in here and talk your shit. Nobody's going to stop you. I think that's unlikely. I think it's improbable. If Cam Ward does it, depending on how he does it, if Cam Ward is a big part of that, as opposed to just a, for lack of a better term, a passenger princess, like nothing wrong with that, by the way, in the NFL as a rookie. Russell Wilson was that on his first Super Bowl team. Russell Wilson was arguably that on his second Super Bowl team. And the reason that they lost that second Super Bowl is because they didn't hand the ball to the person who's most responsible for the Seahawks being in that Super Bowl, right? Nothing wrong with Cam Ward being passenger early on as he starts to, as they make life easier on him. They want to try and make this, the degree of difficulty, as small as humanly possible for Cam. It's going to be incredibly difficult, right? But anything they can do to make his life easier, to take pressure off him, running the football, having an effective offensive line in protection in front of him, all these different things. But my point is, that would be a significant upset. It would be one of the more impressive upsets in week 1, based on, I don't know what the point spread is, what the early odds are on the Titans and the Broncos. I don't have that in front of me, but I would imagine that the Broncos are probably 6 points plus favorites at home by the time we get closer to the regular season. Long time from now. But all that to say that he may be capable of these things. He may play well enough in that game to win, and the team isn't good enough for him to win, right? It's not just the thing that I think is a good reminder, that Patrick Mahomes is a good reminder, since we're talking about Pat. And like I said, Pistol, there's nothing wrong with you having confidence in your quarterback. I'm not going to take that away from you at all. But your roster has to perform as well. It's not just about the best player. It's about the best team. There's reason to believe that the Broncos are a significantly better football team than the Tennessee Titans are right now. Cam Ward can play well enough to win that game and then still lose because they've got issues. I don't know what their cornerback situation is going to look like. Their pass rush is suspect. Their new look offensive line will debut in week 1. Doesn't mean that all of those things are going to go wrong, but I'm just saying, you can be confident, but I think it's also important to be realistic for his sake, because expectations matter here. And there's already a lot of pressure on this kid coming in as the number 1 overall pick. I don't want to see anybody fail. Don't ever want to see anybody fail. But it is also our jobs to kind of point out, all right, what have they not done that could cause them to fall short of what those expectations are, if that makes sense. All right. So with everything else that is going on, let's talk more about the rookies, or let's see what the rookies have been doing in their, it's not a week off, but it's their first week outside of the rest of the offseason program, away from the rigors of all the different things that are going down in a normal NFL practice week. They've been taking them around the city of Nashville. They've been letting them enjoy the different sights, sounds, food, all these different things. And one of those things is one of our favorite spots around here, Hattie B's. The question that I have for you guys is this on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. What's your Hattie B's order? In the comment section, because we're going to let you see Cam Ward and the Titans rookies participating in a hot chicken challenge right after I remind you that if you're a hot chicken fan, there's nothing wrong with that, but you need to make sure that you're balancing those things out with TrueMath Fitness, TrueMathFitness.com. Where you go, you get your first workout free there. It's an awesome place. Their coaching staff is top-notch. Their programming is excellent, and they're just there to help you. They're there to help you. We talk about support system from Cam Ward. I know that the folks at TrueMath have a proper support system for you when it comes to achieving your fitness goals. Go to TrueMath Fitness in the Gulch, TrueMathFitness.com for more information. Like I said, your first workout is free. What's your Hattie B's hot chicken order? Let me know. And while you do that, we will let you watch the Titans participate in a hot chicken challenge.
2, 3. Right down. I know I'm hot. This is cayenne, habanero, and ghost pepper. Let me like you one more. Oh, oh. Go ahead, baby. Yo, baby. You don't want it. Three, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2. Oh! Is it burning? No, it's numb down. Like I'm numb to it. Up on him right now. Yeah. Not anymore. 5, 4, 3. That looks spicy. You gotta step it up here in the end, it looks like. Oh! Otherwise, it's never gonna end. Oh, you gotta eat one. You're supposed to eat one. Oh, Lord. If you eat 5 in a row, you're gonna win. You got 4. Two. You got 2. He cheated. Lock in. 3. Now 2.
Hey, that was a battle. You know, the bet started off real easy, but they tried to play me. But we good. I'm hot.
That's Femi Oladejo and rookie linebacker David Benda, the undrafted rookie free agent linebacker out of Texas, who is going to be an interesting figure, by the way, in the middle of that off-ball linebacker competition next to Cody Barton. But the hot chicken challenge is always difficult. Hattie B's is no question in my mind. They're getting a lot of love around here on the Primetime Show, even though they're not a primetime partner, but they do enough for us on the radio show. I got no problem talking about Hattie B's here. They are their spice level. If you get up to shut the clock up, it will incapacitate you in more ways than one. In fact, while we were watching that video, I put my Hattie B's order in just now. Now, my Hattie B's order, I'm trying to be a little health conscious. I go with grilled tenders instead of fried. So I did 3 grilled tenders, did some greens, did a little bit of pimento mac and cheese for my not so skinny part of the meal, and then a sweet tea to drink, also not skinny, but still very good. Grilled tenders, though, great choice.
What'd you order me?
What did I order you?
What'd you order me?
I don't know. You didn't text me your order.
Do they deliver in Hermitage?
Do they deliver in Hermitage? I assume so. I have no reason to believe that they don't deliver in Hermitage.
I'm going to download the Hattie B's app right now.
Okay. What is your Hattie B's order since we're here?
Ooh, I get a half a chicken. Half a chicken, Greens. Maybe 2 order. I love their greens. I'm not a mac and cheese guy, but their mac and cheese is really good. But I love sides in general, like vegetable sides. So I'd probably get two things of greens. Let's see right here.
This is great.
Do you know my password?
Do I know your password?
Oh,
No.
I just got to give my face. All right, I'll be back. Hold on. You just talk about something for like maybe 32 seconds.
All right, that's Robert Walsh there with us, always providing good information to the show. William Jones says, Buck, I bet you eat your fried chicken with a fork. I don't eat fried chicken. I eat grilled chicken because I am not trying to get fat again. I've already done that once. I would like to avoid that. It's summer. I'm sure as hell not eating fried chicken during the summer. We got a boat weekend coming up. I'm going to San Diego for a week. I'm going to be on the beach. My fat ass does not need to be eating fried chicken. But I will eat grilled, and I will eat grilled tenders from Hattie B's because they're awesome. All right, rising and falling. Whose stock rose? Whose stock fell this week in sports? Let me know in the comment section, and we will discuss at length together. I will tell you that this is a really cool clip from Teron Armstead, the recently retired left tackle, formerly of the Saints and then the Miami Dolphins, talking about Jared Verse. Jared Verse is a rookie defensive lineman for the Los Angeles Rams. The Titans are going to see Jared Verse in week 2. That's their home opener against the LA Rams, which is, again, the first 6 weeks of the Titans schedule. They come out of there with 2 wins. I think you feel pretty good about it, depending on how that looks. But, I'm setting the bar low for a team that was the worst team in football last year. That's just my opinion. You don't have to feel that way. But listening to Teron Armstead talk about going up against Jared Verse, this is one of the better left tackles in football for a long, long period of time. I don't know what that's going to look like in week 2.
Okay, give me the top 3 guys' reasons why. Okay, that you've gone up
All
against.
Right. Sir, this is a good question.
You ain't putting the helmet back on.
No lie. Okay. I'm going to say number 1, he was a rookie from the Rams. That young boy, Jared Verse?
Yep.
I'm cool. I'm good. I never got to see that man again. I'm all right I'm okay with that. Never seeing that young man again in my life. Bull Rush different. Dog is different. You know that it's coming. You brace yourself. He's different. Jared Verse is different. He will be a defensive player of the year one of these days. Mark my words.
Wow.
Him, I've had enough battles with Myles Garrett, so he's on the list too. I'm cool on that. We've danced enough. I'm good. And lastly, it's between Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby. So I have to split 3 from both of those 2 crazy young men. I'm all right. I'm all right. Never seeing those guys again either. Yeah.
Hendrickson's agent's listening to this right now. Bill. Hendrickson's agent's taking this into the negotiations right now.
Listen, Cincinnati. I don't want to get into. I'm not going to talk bad about Cincinnati, but that's a no-brainer. Trey, it's a no-brainer. You need him on the team. He's one of the best, if not the best, pass rusher in the game. He's consistent. He's relentless. You have to have him. The defense is completely different without him.
So that is Teron Armstead talking about Jared Verse, Trey Hendrickson, and Myles Garrett, which is high praise for the rookie first-round pick out of Florida State by the Rams last year. And the Rams don't make many first-round picks here in the last couple of years. But Jared Verse, and following that up with Braden Fisk, a couple in the next round. I think they took him the pick after the Titans picked T'Vondre Sweat, if I'm not mistaken, because the Rams offered the same compensation to Tennessee that Carolina ended up taking, which ended up being the Braden Fisk pick. So really high praise for him. Jared Verse is a fun player to watch, an absolute menace. I'm looking forward to seeing him at Nissan Stadium. I'm sure that Dan Moore is probably not, but that's okay. You're going to have to – everybody's got one of those, or damn near got one of those on their roster, and the Titans' schedule is full with high-level pass rushers this year. They're going to see Myles Garrett. They're going to see Jared Verse. The Titans do not play the Bengals. It's the first time in quite some time that they have not played the Bengals, but still plenty of good pass rushers on that schedule. That new-look offensive line is going to be tested in front of Cam Ward, and Cam Ward – his success is going to be highly derived off that offensive line's ability to succeed. So we will look forward to seeing all that. Listen, this is one primetime week down, 5 more weeks to go without Titans football before training camp gets up and running. We're off tomorrow for the Juneteenth holiday. Cumulus has taken a corporate holiday. So hope everybody who is celebrating Juneteenth or gets the opportunity to celebrate Juneteenth gets to enjoy that day for the right reasons. We're taking a corporate holiday, so that's unfortunately for people who the holiday is supposed to be for. That's been co-opted by corporations. But I'd be lying to you if I said I wouldn't take a day off in the middle of June. Have a great rest of your weekend. Radio show will be back on Friday. Is the next time that I will talk to you. We will do an episode of the install. I'm going to text Cosell. Maybe we'll do an episode of the install like normal in the morning, and that will be what we give to you guys, so you're not completely without prime time or the radio show tomorrow. So you have something. There will be Robert. You did best ofs for the radio show tomorrow.
Oh crap! Oh, I forgot. Oh my God! What are we?
What is on the best of for the radio show tomorrow?
It's Ramon Foster. It's you heard a piece of Louis Riddick. We got the full conversation tomorrow, and our conversation about the Pine Straw Strangler, or Stealer, or Scammer. Pine Straw Scammer.
Pine Straw Scammer.
I think it was Strangler.
Strangler would be better, but that would indicate a level of crime that I don't believe that man has committed. He seems to have committed plenty of crimes, but not strangulation.
But those are the conversations we're having tomorrow on the best of. And sometimes you're listening to it and you're like, hello, I got to call in. Ross is still at the station. You can talk to Ross. He's not going to put you on the show.
Don't do that shit to Ross.
Call him and be like, hey, you ain't working? I know you ain't working in there.
That bug guy doesn't know shit.
Quit smoking pot. Quit smoking pot in the studios. Just holler at him. He doesn't really do that, but it's funny to.
He doesn't.
Funny.
Meanwhile, I'm going to go take a gummy and watch the dog show. I'll see you guys later. Have a great rest of your night.
Illicit drug use.
Acapella. Here we go. What's my name again?
Jonathan.